Okay, so welcome to this video. This is me talking over the top of myself. So this is for you guys that missed the core workshop. So the volume didn't come out very well of me talking on the video, so we're going to talk over it. So first exercise is dead bugs, as the position probably shows you. So what I'm doing here is putting my hand underneath Sarah's back so that she can get some instant feedback about the pressure that she's applying. So the idea is that you squeeze your abdominals hard so that you crush somebody's hand or the floor if you're on your own, to keep the good posture and tension that you need. Then we're going to try and keep that tension whilst making it harder, so moving limbs away from the body. So first of all the arms and then the legs, like that. Then we're going to straighten the legs or have a slight knee bend if your hamstrings are particularly tight. And then single leg, we're going to lower down. All the time we're keeping that pressure into the floor. Then opposite arm and leg. And then all four limbs. Again, really making sure that we maintain that flat spine, that pressure into the mat. Second exercise, so we're going to start on all fours, and the idea is to not rotate at the hips. So we used a lid here just to give Sarah some feedback so she can try and control it. So first of all, we was on all fours, opposite arm and leg reaches. You could, if you really need to, you could just do one arm from all fours and then one leg. And then here we went from a full press up position, which is a lot tougher. I suggest you go wider feet and closer hands for the arms, and then wider hands, closer feet for lifting the legs. You could even go a step further and do opposite arm and leg as well. This exercise, so we had straight arms at about chest level, slightly bent knees and really tight butt and abs, and then your partner is going to try and move your arms a little bit, so forwards, backwards, up and down, left, right. There's no point putting loads of pressure because that just defeats the object. We just want a little bit of pressure, enough so that your partner can keep everything really tight. So that would be the standing version, and then we also did a half kneeling version as well. So one knee down, and as Sarah's showing here, we want that back foot to be nice and active. We don't want it to be relaxed, and we want to keep the butt and the abs really nice and tight. Again, we want them straight arms at chest level, and again we're trying to move, your partner's going to try and move you around. And then there's another version as well on both knees. Again, keeping the toes active, butt tight, abs tight, and then you're going to try and move it around. So it's a good one to do in pairs. Your kids will like trying to knock you off balance on that one as well. So here we have one that's really good for your butt. What I'm explaining there is we want to try and keep the gap between your belly button and your sternum closed, and if you don't and you flare up, you're probably going to feel this more in your back and not so much in the right areas. So hands at your side, we're trying to lift up. Sarah's showing that sort of wrong version with the flaring of the ribs, and here is a much better version. So you're trying to push your heels into the ground and lift your butt up. So this is a slightly harder version where you can't use your hands on the floor. And then we're going to show you a harder one here where you have one foot in the air. Again, if your hamstrings are really tight, you can bend your knee. The point of lifting a leg up is to really work the other leg hard. You'll probably feel this underneath the thighs in the hamstrings and your butt and your abs a little bit. And then finally, if you really want to push yourself, get somebody to try and push down as you're trying to stay up. It's a really tough version. So now we're going to do an exercise starting from all fours, and Sarah's showing a bad posture with the head and the butt up too high. We want a more neutral spine, and we want them feet nice and active again. and then we're going to move the hands away from the hips, and we're going to bring the body forwards as well till you'll find the level that's right for you. We want that head down as well so that your neck's not under too much strain, and then slowly coming back in as well. All the time we're trying to keep that neutral spine and not curve either way. Again, this one you could use something on your lower back as a bit of feedback as well, and try and not let that come off, but it's more about keeping a neutral spine than it is about obviously you don't want to be wobbling too much side to side, but it's more important to keep that neutral spine. This is a more advanced version. Again, feet wider will be easier, feet closer will be tougher, and just take your time, keep your butt really tight, and just slowly move forwards and then backwards. Okay, so this one's great for working every muscle on the back side of your body. Straight arms, straight legs, feet together, point the toes away, and then we're going to try and tense every muscle on the back side of the body to lift the feet and the hands as high as possible. And then as an easier version, if you need it, you can do one arm and the opposite leg. I'm just explaining here where you should be feeling it, from the hamstrings, the upper back, lower back, the butt. If you want to make it harder, you can put a static hold at the top of the movement to really feel that. So here's that easier version. So one leg and the opposite arm. Okay, so now we've got some leg raises or leg lowers. So we ideally have straight legs, toes up to the ceiling and feet together, but don't worry if your hamstrings are a bit tight, just slightly bend the knees. Really strong, a nice tight core again, so that similar to what we was doing in the first exercise, we're trying to imagine you're squeezing something into the floor. Then we're going to lower down as low to the floor without touching as possible, and then back up. And then a slightly easier version is to bend at the legs, so it becomes a lot easier. So toes towards the floor and back. Again, all the time keeping that pressure into the ground. And then a harder level is to lift the hands up, so you've got no support from there. Lower the legs, and we're actually putting in some pauses here as well. So if you really want to push yourself, you can put some pauses in on the way down, but also on the way up as well. And as you can see by Sarah's face, she's working nice and hard there. Then we have side planks. So what we're looking here is to make a nice straight line from the back of the head down to the heels. So we've got elbow underneath the shoulder and make a fist with that arm. Opposite hand goes on the shoulder. And then we're going to start off with bent legs. I'm going to raise up and then push the hips forward as much as possible, whilst keeping nice and tight in the abs and the butt. And then Sarah's going to lift her arm up, make a fist, which will help you create tension, which is what you want. And then we're going to lift up the leg. You can keep it bent or straighten it. And making sure that we keep the hips up nice and high. Okay, then we're going to straighten the legs and pretty much run through the same thing. So start off lifting the hips up, then the hand, making a fist, keeping the hips up and forwards, looking straight ahead, and then lifting that top leg if you can, and making sure you keep the hips up. So we're putting all of that together like a little circuit for you. So I would suggest doing either a minute on the double leg version of the glute bridges or 30 seconds each side. Then we go into the walkouts, so either on your knees or from this position, just about 30 seconds. and just slowly, with control, move forwards and back. Then we're on to the third one. So again, 30 seconds on the clock, and then just lift up as high as you can with straight arms. Again, you're not trying to get loads of reps, you're trying to get good reps, really slow and controlled. Then onto the leg lowers. Again, you can have your hands at your sides if you want to make it harder. You can also put in pauses there if you need to. Then finally, 30 seconds each side on the side plank. So the only thing we need to correct there is looking a bit more straight ahead. Again, you can do that on your knees as well. All right, give that a go, and if you've got any questions, let us know.